I am so honored to be here with Tina Paulus-Krause. And before I get into the more lengthy introduction, thank you for being here, Tina.
Thank you. It's such a pleasure, Anne.
I'm so thrilled. Tina's an author and a speaker and a coach. She wrote a book, The Strength of Our Anchors, and she hosts an award-winning online show called Your Leadership Legacy. And I'm going to dip into having Tina talk about her birth story. And what I mean by that is her birth story into coaching. But what she's a certified business and executive coach, and she's passionate about getting leaders to the next level and helping them strive towards constant expansion and growth so you can have extraordinary results and sustainable change, which is, it's thrilling to me. That's really one of my focuses, my main focus as well. We have all these individuals in the world who are gifted in their own unique way. And a lot of us are stuck and that's why our origin stories are so interesting, because tell us how you went from corporate to coaching.
Yeah, definitely.
So welcome.
What's that? I'm sorry,
welcome.
what?
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me. So it's an interesting story, right? I'm 52 years old. And 5 years ago, I was in corporate, right? I was doing my thing in corporate. I thought I was going to retire in corporate. I had worked at the same company for 22 years, started off as an individual agent. I went all the way up, right? And did all the things. And I was sleeping. I didn't know it at the time, but I know now that I was sleeping. I was on this rat race, go, 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 and just no intention, no vision of my life, just kind of doing what I thought I was supposed to do. And what happened was literally probably at the height of my career, I get a phone call on a Sunday morning. It's 10 o'clock in the morning, and it's my daughter. And she's 24 years old at the time. And she says, Mom, something really bad happened last night. And it's the call that no mom ever wants to get, right? And what I know now, what I knew after I said, come home, and she came home, and what happened was we realized she was severely addicted to drugs and alcohol. And the night before, we were very lucky that she was there that next day. Let's just say that. So this was happening in my life, right? My daughter is severely addicted to drugs and alcohol. And here I am working away, at all the stuff and all of that. And so it was this huge wake up call for me, because as I watched her go up the escalator a week later with a one-way ticket to Arizona to go to rehab, the mom guilt kicked in. Right. All this is happening under my nose. And I was so busy in my own stuff and so busy in my own, what I thought I was supposed to be doing, that I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't smelling the roses. I wasn't paying attention to what was really important in my life. And so it started this like, okay, everything on paper says I should be happy. I've got the 6 figures. I've got the title. I've got the, like all the stuff. Right. And inside I was dying and didn't even know it until I had that wake up call. But inside I was like, okay, you're not happy. What's going on? So I started reading books. I started going to retreats. I got coaches. I started doing leadership programs, which is where I met you. And through the course of that, just really took myself on. Like, you're 50 years old and you're not happy and you've been living your life this whole way. And through the whole process, I woke up. Like I woke up to clarity. I woke up to vision. I woke up to what really mattered. I woke up to loving myself, which is probably where, I know that's where it always starts, but I didn't know it at the time. But I woke up to, oh, it's okay to love myself. I'm not selfish when I'm doing that. And just really learning all those tools and tricks so that I could learn to not, like, the chaos was running me. I had no tools to learn how to manage the chaos so that I could really show up every day in who I said I was and how I wanted to show up. The chaos was taking me down so hard that I was showing up mad, and I was showing up grumpy, and I was showing up bitter, and I was showing up all, workaholic and all the stuff. And I knew in my heart of hearts that that's not who I was or who I wanted to be, but I was sleeping to it. And so my wake up story is kind of what I call it, was just the event that happened in my life where, thank gosh, I look back at it now, and I don't ever want to live any other way than how I'm living now, which is authentic, which is from my heart, which is, standing in my power and being just all of that. And it's nothing of who I was before. I had 17 masks on.
It's hard to imagine you in another state.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's that's a great story. It's really interesting how we think that it's almost like we're on a treadmill running.
Yeah.
We can never catch our breath.
And
And we're
we
doing
think we're the only one.
and we're doing the responsible thing. We're doing what we think we're supposed to be doing, and it's not pleasant.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we know that we're meant for more. And then on some level, I've experienced where you feel scared to extend out and really be what you feel like you're meant to be or supposed to be.
Yeah. Well, because for my whole life, my personality is I'm emotional, right? Like I feel hard. And so my whole life, when I would go to that space of who I really, truly, authentically was, and I was feeling the emotions, it was, you're too emotional, or you're too much, or you're taught, it was always like I was doing something wrong.
Yeah.
So, and now I know like that's programming. It happens to so many people, but in the moment when it's happening to us individually, it was like, oh, that must not be wrong. So you shrink back and you try and figure it out. And my hope for this world is that we don't ever have to shrink back again. I don't ever want to shrink who I am to fit somebody else's vision of who they think I should be. And it was how I lived my life the first 50 years of my life.
Yeah. It's so interesting. The opportunity we get to walk through, the path we get to walk through, to learn what we get to learn.
Yeah.
To become. I feel like we're born perfect and uninhibited. And then we learn the ways of fitting. And I'm constantly paring back to be the full character that I was born to be. Because I have over time learned to shut things off or temper them to I don't know, you dull yourself. You can really dull yourself.
Totally. I mean, even think about as a kid, right? Like if I'm a kid, I'm running through a mud puddle. My parents are saying, don't run through that mud puddle. I'm talking, stop talking. Like, you're constantly in the 0 to 8. That's when you're molded, right? And yeah, if you've got people saying, no, that's not right, it's not wrong, and there's nobody lifting you up, it's just your programming. It's how you show up as an adult. Or
you're the one who, So our topic in this event is, locking into a captivating vision. And that involves connecting with who you really are. And so I wonder if you could speak to kind of quickly how to kind of ensure that you've locked into your vision, not an exterior vision. And then how life is chaotic. So how did you navigate through chaos? How would you suggest for us as we step into our vision for this year to protect our vision in some way and be resilient with it and step in past chaos?
I love that word, resilient.
Big questions.
Yeah, big questions. Yeah. So it's all about clarity, right? When I was just letting life run me, I was showing up and I was winging it, right? And I didn't really have a clear vision of who I wanted to be or how I wanted to show up. And so the very first thing I would say is take the time, like carve out an hour of time, or if it's 5 minutes a night for a week or whatever it looks like for you, but prioritize time when you can just sit with yourself and be like, who do I want to be? And write on paper, I want to be compassionate. I want to be loving. I want to be powerful. I want to be courageous. I want to be bold. Like write out all the things that you want to be. And then really just sit with those things. Okay, well, when am I those things? And really have this conversation with yourself. When am I these things? When am I not these things?
Do you get to pick any of these things? Do you get to just pick these things?
Yeah. When I do my workshops, what I'll have people do is I'll have them write it all down. If you come up with 30 or 40 words or whatever those words are, now let's pick 3 of them. Right? Pick 3. And for me, my 3 are, I have a contract on myself, right? And we learn this in our leadership class. I am a powerful, authentic, loving leader. And here's why I picked those 3 things. I had to sit with that, right? Like when I leave a room, if people are at my funeral, what do I want them to say about me? Because I get to show up in like that. If I want people to think that of me, then that's how I get to show up. And so much of my life, I showed up not in my power. I would shrink back. I wasn't using my voice. I was passive aggressive, right? And that's not being in my power. So powerful was my first word. I always want to show up in my power and be and have that confidence.
So you're talking about showing up. This is a term that I'm having you define for people because it's something we're familiar with. And I met Tina as she was orchestrating a huge leadership development class that's pretty magnificently timed, orchestrated. And Tina was kind of leading all of the behind the scenes things that were going on within it. It was brilliant. So yeah, I got to see Tina really in action, coaching in action. So when you're talking about showing up, you're making it sound like we have a choice.
We do have a choice. Totally have a choice. We always have a choice. I love that. Yeah, because guess what? Some days I don't wanna. Some days I don't wanna. If I have a meeting full of things and I don't wanna, but I get to choose. Like I might not want to, but how do I choose right now powerfully to show up? Because those people are depending on me. I might not want to do that training class, but those people are depending on me to be there. I might not want to have that conversation, but that person is depending on me to be there. So when I say showing up, like when I walk into a room, am I walking in powerfully, or am I walking in like not being confident and not, like, am I in my power or not? Showing up means, how do you show up? Are you showing up confident? If you say you want to be confident, are you showing up confident? If you say you want to be courageous, are you doing things that are courageous? If you are loving, are you being loving, right? So when I say showing up, it means, who are you being when you're in front of somebody, or even when you're with yourself? I want to be powerful when I'm with myself. Right? So powerful was one of them, because I don't ever want anybody else to take my power away again. I get to have my power all the time. And so I'm a powerful, authentic, loving leader. Authentic. I would show up in corporate. I had 52 masks because I thought that I had to show up a certain way. I thought I had to be a certain thing and say a certain thing. And it was just all the programming that goes into it. And today I show up as who I am. I'm not for everybody, and that's okay.
And I just want to mention that most of the time we find out that no one expected us to show up other than who we are. But we thought that once we understand and we show up authentically, it's amazing how simple things can be.
Oh, it's
so actually love you for being authentic.
Yeah, it's simple and it's easy. It makes life easy. The resistance that we have in life, our resistance towards, doing stuff or not doing stuff, is hard. Like resistance is hard. When we want to stay in our comfort zone and not try new things, like that's hard. When you're just authentic and you just show up as who you are, it's really super easy. It's freeing, actually, right? It's freeing. But I still, sometimes I don't, right? Like I have those 3 values for myself, because sometimes I don't. Sometimes I am still showing up, I say my contract to myself, and it shifts me back into power. It shifts me back into authenticity. And the last one is loving. Like, I'm going to be really vulnerable right now and say, I was one of those women at the water cooler talking smack about people. Like I was that mean girl, and I don't ever, ever, ever want to be that. That's never who I want to be when I show up. I always want to show up from a place of love. So powerful, authentic, and loving, those are my values. Those are that's who I always get to show up as. And I have people in my life like you, Anne, that if I'm not showing up in that way, you're going to hold me accountable for that.
Because I'm a joyful, confident, inspiring leader.
Yes,
for many reasons.
Yeah.
So it is wonderful to collaborate with other people who you experience these experiences with, and you're seeing each other at this level, and you're expecting that, and you have the authenticity and the love for each other and respect to say if it's not there.
Right. Yeah. Because we're not perfect. We're human. So I'm not always going to show up as loving. Like sometimes I'm going to be in a bad mood, but my husband knows my contract. My husband has a contract too. We get to, it's a communication tool that we both use, or that you and I can use, to really hold each other accountable for who we say we want to be. If I show up and I'm not being loving, like I want you to call me forward on that.
I will.
I always want to be loving, right? And so my question, if you're listening to this, like my question to you would be, who do you have in your life that holds you accountable to be who you say you want to be, other than yourself, right?
Yeah.
And it's a great communication tool. It's a great way. So when I kind of started going through it, going back to your question, right?
Yes.
It was clarity. Spend time figuring out who you want to be. What are your values? How do you want to show up? What is it? Who are you? And when you get really, really solid with who you are and it starts to embed in your body, the clarity will come, because you will start to realize, oh, this is that's clarity. And so when I have clarity about who I want to be or what I want to do, then I know when I'm not there and I can adjust to it. The chaos that we're living in right now is ridiculous. 77% of us right now are reporting burned out. And that's scary. That's really scary, because you're not your best self when you're burnt out. I'm not my best self when I'm burnt out. And we can't get to the extraordinary results that we say we want when we're burnt out. So what tools do you have in your back pocket to really shift you back into being who it is that you say you want to be? And that clarity piece, it starts with clarity. It always starts with clarity.
So if I could butt in here, when you are creating kind of a title for yourself, you're really creating like a mission statement.
Yeah.
Oh, before we do that consciously, we have created one unconsciously.
Yeah.
We have a box.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be a box, but it is a container that we've created where we don't stray out of it, because this is who we are. And do you ever have people tell you, well, that's who I am? And it's a crutch. It's actually, they go, well, that's who I am.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Well, do you like it? Do you like it?
Well,
So
and even I have that, and you have people that will hold me in my past. So,
yes.
So there's
I was
people
going to get to that. Yeah.
Yeah. So people from my past that are like, well, that's not like, what do you like? Who do you think you are? What are you doing?
Yeah.
It's like, it's just having then the confidence to stand in. Yep. I have not been, that's who I was back then. That's not who I am today.
Yeah.
And it's not who I get to be in the future.
Yeah. Thank you. I wanted to identify that we already have a structure that we are used to being in.
Yeah.
And if it's not working for us,
yeah,
what you've just demonstrated is, what do you want to be? We get to be whatever we want to be.
mm-hmm.
And then as you start identifying yourself in that identity keeps you moving towards the kinds of actions that a person who has that identity would be doing. So if you're super healthy, vitality, you wouldn't be eating certain ways, or you wouldn't be sitting around all the time. Just by defining yourself in a really beautiful way, you're helping to propel yourself into a momentum of succeeding.
Right. Yeah. Because those 3 words in my past, comfort would have been one of them.
Yeah.
Right. Like it would have been all toxic stuff. There's like, it's just how I was showing up, and I was sleeping. I was unconscious to how I was showing up. So part of this clarity and part of this, it's the awareness of, I get to be really honest with how I'm showing up. I mean, when I got really honest with how I was showing up, I got to look in the mirror and know that I yelled at my kids, right? I was drinking too much. I like all these toxic, like when I got, so the first, like you get to get really, that's why I say spend an hour with yourself, get really, really honest with how you're showing up right now. And is that who you want to be? And if not, who is it that you want to be? Get really clear on that, and then start showing up like that. And I guarantee you it's magic. You will see your life start to change.
Great. So does this have to do with also then negating chaos?
Right, because the clarity negates the chaos in of itself. Chaos comes because we're not clear. So in a moment of chaos, if I'm clear about how I want to show up, I can be like, oh, it's chaos right now. I am not in my power, and I can shift into my power. Oh, there's chaos right now. How do I get into my authenticity? Like, so it's a way to really snap you back into not let that chaos is always going to be there, especially with the world that we're in and where we're going. Like, it's just going to be faster and faster and more change and more change and more change. So it's a new skill set in today's environment to really learn how to block out and manage that chaos. It'll always be around you. The key is learning how to manage it and not let it affect how you're showing up and who you're showing up as.
So how do you do that?
I
know that the more I meditate, I ground, I feel my authenticity, the more the chaos bounces off. Sometimes I look at it and I don't even see it as chaos. I see it as just something going on over there that doesn't really need my attention. What do you do? What have you found over time to be really effective? Because as our audience goes into their vision for the year,
Yeah,
all sorts of stuff's going to be knocking on the door
totally.
because you're getting out of your comfort zone, your zone of acceptability and normal, what's normal for you. And
Right.
so as soon as you start doing that, your temperature, your thermostat starts saying it's too hot, it's too cold, it's too hot, it's too cold.
Yeah. I got to tell you that meditation probably is the one thing that turned it around for me. So I stack my habits, right? So I have a ritual at night where no matter where I'm at, and sometimes when I'm traveling, it's a little bit difficult, but no matter where I'm at, like I take an hour at night, I take a hot bath and I meditate. And my meditation is, how did the day go? Let's kind of break down the day, let go, whatever I get to let go, right? And start thinking about tomorrow. So tomorrow I get to do this and this. And just really being super uber organized and clear and focused on what I'm trying to do. So the meditation at night is like, let the stuff go. What's important tomorrow? Like, what's the commitment for tomorrow, the intention? And that's huge. And then the other thing that I do is I say my contract like a lot. So especially when I'm feeling it, right? Like if I'm feeling it, I'm a powerful, authentic, loving leader. And if I say it a few times in a row, I normally will shift and come back to where I need to be. So those 3 words are huge in the clarity and who you want to be. So those are a couple of things I do. I started eating clean. Like when I started my transformation, the junk that you put in your mind, the junk that you put in your mouth, whatever you're putting in, it's coming out somehow. And so, I'm not perfect at it, but probably 85 to 90% of the time, no sugar, no carbs. Right. So
Fantastic.
I just started eating, like taking care of myself.
Mhm.
I was taking care of everybody else in the world. And at the end of the day, I had nothing left for myself. So at the end of the day, I still take care of everyone. That's who I am. I will never stop that because it's what lights me up. And I now have those rituals so that I can take care of me. I have enough left at the end of the day to take care of me as well. And that's what recharges me and gets me going for the next day. I'm going to the next day super clear. But when I miss the meditation at night, I will notice it the next day. Things won't go the way they should. I'll get, cranky, whatever it is. So that meditation, it grounds me. It keeps me centered. It keeps me focused on what I want to do and where I want to go. And I have a coach. I will never again not have a coach.
Me either.
Yeah, I just won't. And when I was in corporate, when you got a coach, there was something wrong, right? Like it's a discipline thing or like something's wrong, danger, Will Robbins. But coaching, I need that accountability because I will talk big, and that, having that extra layer of accountability built in there so that I can make sure that I'm actually doing what I say I'm going to do so that I can move my business forward, and all that kind of stuff is really important too.
Yeah, we have accountability partners that are our peers, but then a coach is different because that coach is on the next level, or you're using them to shift you to the next level.
Yep.
So it's a different relationship that you have there.
Yeah.
So I've noticed this. I've noticed this thing over the past year that I've found myself when I'm pushing myself to challenging myself to another level.
Mm-hmm.
A part of me will want to go get a blanket and lay on the couch and watch TV.
Totally.
And I noticed through this leadership class that you orchestrated that that was a procrastination technique that was based on some fears I had. Yeah. And it was something that I developed early to kind of protect me. Yeah. And then it was inhibiting me from my growth.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if I were to be locked and loaded on, I'm a joyful, confident, inspiring leader. A joyful, confident, inspiring leader does not hit the couch with a blanket each time something gets a little challenging.
True.
They just stop and say, ask, or, open themselves. What's the possibility here?
Yeah.
How can I move forward? Thank you to the blanket that helped me for a while. And thank you to the blanket once in a while if I'm sleepy, but not as a coping mechanism.
Yes. Blanket, you don't get to be my security right now.
Right? I have a coach instead of a blanket.
Yeah, it's so true. And here's the thing, so the difference is that for 50 years, I'm under that blanket thinking that's what I'm supposed to be doing. Like I'm rocking life. Look at my title, look at my income, look at this house, and I'm under the blanket absorbing all the negative and news and all that kind of stuff every night. And so my question to everybody would be, what is it that's going to knock you out of that habit? Like what's going to be that wake up call for you so that you understand that that blanket and that TV is your comfort zone and it's holding you back from everything that you say you want to do and be.
It's actually like that sneaky deal, Faustian bargain, the deal with the devil. You can have the blanket and the TV, but you won't have all these other things. And it's so comforting,
Yeah.
but you won't be able to have all these other things.
Yeah, it's so true.
So you hit on something that I think is so inherent in my community.
Mm-hmm.
People feel a burning desire within to try something, and they're comfortable, and they're doing something that it's very acceptable, and they've done something in this past chapter or current chapter that's very acceptable, but
Mm-hmm.
they've got this really exciting thing that they've wanted to do for a long time.
Yeah.
How do you suggest, and it's probably right in the vision that they've created in the last event,
Mm-hmm.
how do you suggest that they take a bold step, just the next step into this uncharted territory that they're a little scared about?
Yeah, I think that the answer is you sit down and get really honest with yourself. What's holding you back? Like if this is the chapter that you say you want to go to, and you're still continuing to choose the blanket because it's a choice, what is holding you back? What is truly, honestly holding you back? And a lot of the times it's fear, like you said. A lot of the times it's just like, I'm in the unknown. I don't know what to do. Get a coach, find an accountability partner, find somebody that is going to help push you into taking that next big step. Figure out, like you said, just what is that one next big step? It might be calling somebody to set up a website. It might be, getting a business card. It might be whatever, finding a logo, whatever it is, whatever that next big step is, it's what's holding you back from it. Get really, really honest with yourself and then create committed action around it. Because next year at this time, if you don't have some kind of a forward action step, we're going to be having the same conversation.
And often the very next step leads to the very next step and leads to the very next step.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking you're going to have a year plan, you can have a goal and a vision for the year, but it's the next step that's the most important. It's
And
the very next baby step.
Yeah. And how many times do we don't take that step, and we don't, and we don't, and we don't, and we don't, and we don't. And then we finally do. And we're like, oh, that wasn't so bad. All the time, almost literally. I can't think of a time when it hasn't been that, right? So
why didn't I do that 10 years ago?
Yeah, I think the other thing to get really, really honest with yourself about is to really understand that we are our own worst enemy. We self-sabotage, you, me, ourselves. We self-sabotage ourselves. We are our own worst enemy. So anything that when your mind is saying that you can't, when the blanket seems more understand that that's the work. That's the mindset saying, no, just come back over here in this cozy little blanket that we have. You don't want to grow, do you? You really don't want to do that. That I call it the itty bitty shitty committee. That itty bitty shitty committee will win as long as you let her win.
Yeah. So often we mistake comfort for rightness.
Yeah.
So what I've grown to learn within my artwork and my life is that when I come up to a spot where I'm stumped a little bit, if I put it on hold, it's gonna wait for me. That's a spot that I have to get through.
Yep.
I get the opportunity to go through that and grow through that.
Yep.
So the longer I wait on it, it just sits and waits for me.
Yeah.
So the sooner you get into it, the sooner you get through it.
Absolutely.
And then you're on your way.
And it's just this little question to ask yourself, like, what's the next right baby step here?
Yeah.
What's the next right baby?
And that's why coaching or taking classes or, engaging with people who are doing something like, processing through like you are is so important, because it's a lot easier. It's like when you start working out again, it's easier to start running with a friend or meeting a friend at the gym than doing it yourself.
Accountability partners are so huge. They really are.
Yeah. So Tina, how can we connect with you? How can people connect with you? You've got a number of ways for us to do that.
Definitely. So my website is trueyouteams.com. So literally TRUEYOU teams.com.
Yes.
I'm on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn, all of it. I think you're going to post the link. I'm offering a free strategy session to anybody who wants to get clear, like really wants to get clear on what that next baby step is. So that's in there, but I'm all over social media. My email is tina@trueyouteams.com. if you want to contact me directly.
Tina, thank you so much for spending time with us. It was so enjoyable. And I definitely hope to have you back within this year of our Master Creator series.
Yes, that would be amazing. We've got some collaboration to do for sure.
Yeah. Great love to you and appreciation.
Thank you, Anne.
You're welcome.